This is the Energy Makers Show, featuring the innovators, financiers, and policymakers focused on the global energy demand. Brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And here's your host, Paul Dickerson.
Hi, I'm Paul Dickerson, and welcome to another episode of the Energy Makers Show. Today we have on the program Mayor Annise Parker, the mayor of the city of Houston, the energy capital of the world, talking about her beginnings in the oil and gas space, the future of energy for the city of Houston, and how renewables and clean energy are a big part of it. All that right after this.
Where will the energy come from to move us forward? From natural sources in abundant supply? Or perhaps a man-made source? At NRG, we believe innovation will solve our energy needs. That's why NRG is moving away from fossil fuels towards wind, solar, and other sustainable technologies to power the smart grid, the electric car, and our clean energy future. We're using all of our energy to develop more of it.
This is the Energy Makers Show, brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And now, back to the Energy Makers Show with your host, Paul Dickerson.
Welcome to another episode of the Energy Makers Show. We have with us today the mayor of the city of Houston, Mayor Annise Parker. Mayor, great to have you on the program.
Thank you, Paul. Nice to be with you.
Well, and congratulations on the re-election.
Well, I'm glad that's over. Now I can get back to work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'd love to hear, I know since we talk about energy, and you yourself have some energy in your background, I'd love for you to share with our viewers some of your own personal history in energy.
Well, I'm about to date myself, but I graduated from college here in 1978, and oil and gas was 80% of the Houston economy. Yeah. So where did I go to work? In the oil and gas industry, and I stayed there for the next 20 years before I came into public life. In fact, I spent 18 years working for Bob Mosbacher at Mosbacher Energy Company.
And of course, Houston has remained in many people's mind that energy capital of the world. I'd love to hear, many of our viewers are in California, New York, or around the world. Give them some sense of the opportunities here in Houston with energy.
Well, the past is the oil and gas capital. But we believe that Houston today is the energy capital, and moving forward, we want to continue to expand our footprint in green and renewable energy while maintaining our ties to the traditional oil and gas companies that are still our bread and butter. But we are aggressively courting companies that want to relocate here, and frankly, we all know that a lot of the R&D that's going on in other types of energy is coming from the traditional petroleum-based companies.
For companies interested in Houston, where do they go? Is it the Greater Houston Partnership? Is it your office? What's a good one-stop shop?
Certainly the Greater Houston Partnership is a place to go, but I also have an economic development office within the city of Houston, and in fact a chief development officer. His name is Andy Icken, and you can find him through the city's website. We work closely with the partnership as our chamber group, but there are other partnership or other chamber type groups. The Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership is another one of our lead organizations that ties in businesses to the city of Houston. We believe it's important that the city be at the table when discussions are held with companies that are thinking to relocate, because there are a lot of intangibles that a city offers that we're the best place to go to find out about, but there are some real benefits that a city can offer as well in terms of infrastructure build-outs, possible tax abatements, appropriate siting locations,
Sure.
because we know what's coming down the pipe.
And I know you spoke about the renewable and the efficiency space. That's been an important driver, I know, in your administration. Could you share with us a little bit about, on the efficiency side, some of the moves that you've made?
Well, I think it's important for the city to lead by example. And Houston, we're known as the largest unzoned city in America, and we're known as a business-friendly city. And the way we keep that reputation is that we don't overregulate, we try to incentivize. But we also, if it's good enough for the businesses that operate here, it ought to be good enough for the city of Houston. So we have aggressively moved to reduce our carbon footprint, improve our energy efficiency. We have retrofitted a number of city buildings. Anything that we build new for the city of Houston has LEED certification. We have an incentive program right now to encourage the private sector to come on board in that. We are the largest municipal purchaser of wind energy in America, and we're in the top 10, I know, of public and private entities in terms of wind energy purchasing in the heart of the oil and gas industry.
That's going to certainly surprise, I think, a lot of our friends on the coasts, that when they think of Houston, they think heavy oil and gas, fossil, and they don't think about clean green.
Well, but we're also the fourth largest city in America, and we have the most robust economy of any other city or region in America. In fact, the Brookings Institution just named us the #1 city in America, 19th on the world list of growing cities with a bright economic future. So, you know, we feel positive about that, but that's a lot of people. And, you know, a lot of cars, a lot of industry.
Sure.
We have to make sure that we do what we can to maintain good air quality, to maintain a good traffic grid, to, you know, I'll make a reference to one of the simplest things that we have done recently in terms of energy efficiency. We replaced all of the incandescent bulbs in 1,200 traffic signals we have across the city of Houston, or 1,200 intersections, and with LED bulbs. We expected that the return on our investment in energy savings would occur over about a 7-year period.
Right.
But because of the greater efficiency and lifespan of an LED bulb, the savings in personnel costs of replacing the bulbs in all of those signalized intersections meant that our return on investment was almost immediate.
Incredible, incredible. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the growth of the city when we come back. This is the Energy Makers Show with Mayor Annise Parker. We'll be back with more right after this.
The future is here.
You can't see it. It's electric.
At NRG, we're providing clean energy and now charging stations to make the electric car a reality. Kinda makes you want a boogie woogie, doesn't it? NRG, moving clean energy forward.
It's electric.
This is the Energy Makers Show, brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And now, back to the Energy Makers Show with your host, Paul Dickerson.
Welcome back to the Energy Makers Show. We're continuing on with Mayor Annise Parker. Now, Mayor, when we left off, we were talking about that Brookings Institute report about, you know, the growth in the city of Houston. I would imagine as mayor, there's lots to respond to when you are feeling the growth and planning for even greater growth.
You know, we're growing in population and we're also growing economically. We are investing in critical infrastructure in the city of Houston. In fact, we had a ballot initiative year before last where the citizens of Houston voted to impose a drainage fee on themselves in order to invest back in infrastructure. That's the kind of attitude that has kept Houston at the forefront. We understand that we have to continue to renew and refresh the critical infrastructure in the city. A business operates on a platform that is all the elements of a city, and those things like water and sewer, streets and drainage have to be continuously upgraded.
Well, and part of the upgrade, Houston's becoming known for its electric charging stations and electric cars.
This is another way we have tried to lead by example in the city of Houston. We have purchased for our municipal fleet a number of all-electric vehicles. We have also embraced a partnership with our local energy providers that we have free charging stations across downtown, 10 free charging stations in downtown, and the rollout of a very aggressive plan to put charging stations in individual households for people who want to purchase electric vehicles. Again, we see nothing incompatible with having a strong, robust oil and gas presence, but also embracing the green and renewable energy future. Our economy has 5 major elements. We are still oil and gas, and it impacts about 50% of what we do here. But we are the largest foreign port in the United States. We have the world's largest medical center. We still have a very robust presence of NASA and aerospace, right. And we are a manufacturing hub. A lot of the goods and services go in and out of the Port of Houston. People think of us as oil and gas, but we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be the city that we are if we were only oil and gas.
Well, and with all those industries, as you look ahead to your new term, where do you set priorities as it relates to energy?
We want to continue to provide the level of city services that would attract companies to Houston. We are also embarking on an interesting program right now to begin to leverage some of the skill sets that are coming out of NASA. We still have 14,000 jobs out at NASA, but people are transitioning out of the former space shuttle program. They have millions of dollars worth of training in high-tech equipment and processes. Very smart people. A lot of them are budding entrepreneurs, and we are working to link them to venture capitalists. And to help them through groups like the Houston Technology Center to help them bring marketable products forward. Not directly related to energy, but the other element that I think we have not done what we could have done in the past is we're a great medical we have a great medical center, the largest in the world. We excel in treatment, but we pioneer new products, services, and treatments, but we don't take them to market. Yeah. I am intent on making sure that we become the place where those are turned commercial, not sending them off to someplace else.
My father, the patent attorney, used to explain getting the patent is often the easy part. It's commercializing that's the tough part, and it's nice to know that your administration is really focusing on building those businesses. Now, did I hear that you recently came back from Israel?
I did. I took a trip to Israel to really to look at what's going on in high tech over there. Right. It is the startup nation right now, and if we're going to begin to spin off more companies and to help new businesses grow in Houston, we need to figure out a way to do that. There are certainly some incentives there, but it's more a spirit and an attitude. Well, I know we already have that. Sure. In Houston. So it's a matter of taking what we have and making the appropriate linkages.
Were there any technologies that you were excited about or things that you saw that might have direct application here in Houston?
There were a few. I spent some time looking at their desalination plants and the technology for that, not directly related to Houston, but of great interest to my partner up the road in Galveston, for example. One of the other things we visited was Project Better Place, which is their electric vehicle program that they're based in Tel Aviv but moving nationwide, where it's not just about charging an electric vehicle, it's about a total battery replacement in about the same amount of time as you would in a gas station to fill up a tank. Again, not an immediate need or use in Houston, but the technology is really interesting, and we are a big enough city just in terms of population and land mass that there may be opportunities in the future. But the most interesting part to me was visiting with a series of startup leaders, how they made their connections to venture capital, how they brought their product to market. A lot of them turned to the United States and vice versa. There's a lot of cross-pollination. And as the fact that Israel now is exploring their own oil and gas reserves, Noble Energy being the primary U.S. company, Noble based in Houston, I will point out. We spent some time talking about those opportunities also. Well,
it's important to have a mayor that has an eye on the world and can search for opportunities and bring the synergies back here to Houston. Did I hear that there are some changes going on with some of our airports as well, as people make that travel?
One of the things that keeps us at a competitive advantage to other cities is the fact that we have a 3-airport system. Intercontinental Airport, our major international airport, Hobby Airport, close in, links us to the rest of the United States, but we also have a major public field, but with more private aircraft coming in, which would be Ellington. What we're trying to do is expand the number of international flights, because if a business person gets off a plane someplace and has to change planes, we may lose them. So we have a very large suite of international flights, and we are the largest hub in the United system. but we're trying to expand that not just with United, but with other international flights. The element that's missing right now is a direct flight Houston to China, and we've been aggressively pursuing that. But we just launched a $1 billion expansion program at our primary international airport that's to be phased in over the next in 3 phases over the next 10 years, which will transform the experience of people flying in, but also allow us to keep ahead of capacity.
Well, Mayor, it's a treat to see you again. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Absolutely. Enjoyed it very much.
And that wraps this episode of the Energy Makers Show, heard on the radio nationwide and seen right here at TheEnergyMakers.com. I'm Paul Dickerson. We'll see you next week.